managed to start recording. So welcome again to the GivingInsight webinar. And we can get kicked off. And David, do you want to introduce yourself first, and then I'll introduce myself and we'll get started.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. And my name is David Pettigrew of Nourish NFP. I'm a fundraising consultant, have been for about 12 years or so, and I've been a fundraiser for over 20. And I've been working with Altis to develop this regular giving web app. I'm very excited by it, and hopefully today we'll be able to give you a bit of an overview of it and you can see the value of it. So looking forward to telling you a bit more about that shortly.
Okay, thank you. And so my name's Michael Baker. So I work at Altis Consulting, and we were very excited to partner with David to build a easy data analytics capability to essentially help fundraisers do their job more effectively. So Altis is a data analytics company. We've been around for more than 20 years, and that is all we do, mainly based in Australia. So we've got a lot of depth in that space across any technology, any vendors. We are vendor independent, and we don't build CRMs or anything else. All we do is data and analytics. So we've got a lot of depth in that space, and then partnering with David to get the fundraising expertise is where we decided to work together to try and build something that was easy to use and accessible for more fundraisers to understand their data. So I will, that's all I want to do for intros. What we'll do in terms of the format of the webinar, David's going to talk a little bit about the bigger picture. We're going to jump into a demo and go through the actual features and functionality and how it can help you of the actual product. And then we'll leave a little bit of time at the end for questions, if we do, and we can always take up the conversation afterwards. And if at any time you guys lose my screen or anything crazy like that happens, please stop me and let me know. So I will hand back to David, and you can talk, I guess, overview, and then let me know when you want me to jump into the product. And hopefully you can see my screen now.
Okay, thank you. So over the years as a fundraiser, and I've been involved with regular giving for around about 20 years. And one of the great challenges I've always had, and I think when I look at many of my clients too, one of their challenges is how to really get to grips with your data and your analytics for regular giving. Because I think one of the issues generally is that the CRMs that people are using really don't generally give you the sort of reporting easily and with and clearly what you want, when you want it, and as quick as you want it. So what we've developed here is GivingInsight, which will provide you with easy to read and understand data about your regular giving program. That's the critical thing. And what we want to do in this session is give you an idea of how it works and how best to use the tool, so you can use it to see important information, make changes to your channels, which you should hopefully help you raise more revenue, cut expense, and increase ROI. And so the key things I really want to talk about are the fact that there's 5 key metrics, I think, in regular giving that dictate ROI. Your volume of donors, your cost per acquisition, your pre-debit fail rates, your attrition rates, and your transactional declines. And those 5 things together really influence what happens in your program overall. And if we can jump into the demo model, then we're going to see how this will help you look at all these different things and really give you a clear view of how your program is operating. So in the web app, you'll see in front of you what we call the home page, and the home page is really very much a very big picture view of what's happening. And the one thing I would just want to really say now is that the data in this model is purely sample data and not based on anybody's real information. So you might see things you go, well, I wouldn't expect to see that if I was looking at my program. Don't worry, this is really a demonstration of how this works and what it can do for you. One of the questions we often get asked is how often do we upload data and how's that done? Well, the data is going to come through an API from your CRM straight into the web app. So, and it will be possible to do that daily. So really what you're looking at is an almost live, or what you would be looking at is an almost live view of your regular giving information. So on this page, which is our home page, you can see the total number of donors active at any given time, your average gift across your program, the lifetime revenue of your program, and the best month you've had in terms of revenue. You can also do quick clicks in here, so you can forecast, analytics, and if hopefully we'll scroll down, your favorites and help page. And your help page is around FAQs, training videos, and searching the knowledge base. So this page really allows you to quickly go from one place to the next in the app. If we just pop back up to the top of the page, you'll see along the top left a number of different options. Home is where we are now. Forecast, we'll come to that later. Analytics, favorites, help, and settings. The key one we'll want to talk about just now is to jump into analytics. And you'll see this just loading up now with data. This page, just to talk you through the page before we do anything else, allows you to look at the total number of donors you've got, the total lifetime revenue, things like overall retention, sign-ups per month, gifts per donor. You can also go down and look at return on investment and cost per acquisition. Now, the key thing about this dashboard, which is incredibly important, is that it allows you to put in cost data, and that's going to let you look at return on investment as well as cost per acquisition. Now, really, for those people, organizations using this now, we've got some cost data from some of them, but we're just working with some of them at the moment to ensure that they upload their cost information in, and then you can get a really good true picture of what's been happening. So one of the examples I would use is that if you're the CEO or the board, you might be saying, well, 3 years ago we made some investment in regular giving and say telemarketing, for example. What actually happened to that investment we put in? Now, very often these days you have to go back and get into your database and pull out files and put them in Excel and do all these sort of workings yourself. With this tool, you'll be able to just go straight in and look at that sort of information very quickly. The graph you see on this page is a rolling 12-month attrition. Now, this is your attrition across all of your donors in the regular giving program. And the main reason we've included this is it's a nice little health check graph. If you're looking at 12-month rolling attrition, if you've, you should be able to kind of see where you expect your monthly loss rates would be. And if you see a spike, as we see in July, then you would expect to see some sort of a problem there, and that allows you to go way back in and investigate it. So that's that page, and we can now filter. So if you go across to this arrow on the side, we've got a whole lot of filters down the side. So we'll just do a quick filter demonstration, an example. We'll look at cohort financial year 2018 to 2019. We'll unclick the last 12 months. And we'll go down into, if you see where it says gift, we can choose our channel. So we're going to choose face-to-face. You'll see if we just go back to channel a minute, you'll be able to see that we've got you can have a whole pile of different ones. And bear in mind that what you would see here is whatever you have in your program. So you might have more options in your database, in which case you would see that in channel. We're not going to go through all of these, but you'll see you can go down, you can look at it by campaign or appeal or supplier. Gift status would be able to look at that of whether you've got active or terminated. You may have data that also has held donors, so you'll see that too. Transactional information, we can split it by gift range, and we can split it by payment method. We can also then go down and look at age and gender. So these are all your options that you can select by on your on the left-hand side column. Now, if we jump back into the page, you can now see how that has changed. We've now got a different number of donors. You'll see the lifetime revenue, and also you'll see in each of these boxes whether something is up or down over the previous year. And in that graph as well, you're now able to see what's happening by transaction month as well. So this page is a nice snapshot that you can look at information, having broken it down using your filters, and very useful. So the next one we would look at is installment view, and on the installment view, you can look at attrition by installment. So you can see that table there, which shows you the attrition by installment. So if you look at your month 2, for example, just put that pointer over, and you'll see that your month 2 attrition in this particular instance is just coming up for 8%. And then you can roll that down to, say, month 12, and you'll see that's under 1%. And then you can look at accumulated attrition as well. So you can actually see for that group of donors you're looking at how well they're performing over time. So your 12-month attrition rate for this particular group of donors is, I'm not sure, Maitha, able to do 12, thank you, is 45%. So you're probably thinking to yourself, these are not necessarily real numbers, and you're right. As I said earlier, this is sample information. On the right-hand side of the page, you can see the number of donors and their average gift for the number of donors of regular giving subscription and the average of gift of those donors by month. And if we slide down the page a little bit further, we can look at attrition rates by cohort and installment, by accumulated attrition by cohort and installment, and then retention by cohort and installment. So, you know, I know that a lot of people look at attrition and retention in different ways. So there's 3 options there for you to actually look at that information. And we're just going to go now, and we're going to do a comparison of 2 different channels. We're going to do a comparison of face-to-face and telemarketing. So you can see, therefore, you've got a graph here, and by the way, you could do this by supplier if you wanted, as well as other ways. But here in this case, we're looking at accumulated attrition by channel, face-to-face and telemarketing, and you've got a direct comparison of what's happening in there, which is quite kind of a useful tool for you to use as well. So then we will pop into calendar view. And the one thing just I'll mention as we go is that the selection criteria we've used on the filters up to now, they just go through to the next page. So you don't have to keep resetting them when you change from, say, installment view to calendar view. They're already in the system, and so you just can just jump from one page to the next. And you'll see in the chart in this particular one, you're looking at revenue by month between face-to-face and telemarketing. You can look at the total number of active donors by month. You can look at sign-ups by month, and this is of course by channel, and then the number of cancelled donors by month as well. And so this is just a calendar view to let you see how things happen over time. We can then move on to I'm just going to talk about very quickly about this page here, data quality. This particular information in here is not really too relevant, but what it does allow you to do is to say, how good is the quality of my donors? And if you look down at the bottom of oldest donor age 121, you probably think to yourself, that's probably not right. So there's probably a little bit of a data quality issue in there somewhere. But it does allow, and the other one I would point to is around uniqueness. You've got 10,707 donors, but 15,000 master gifts. So there's an indicator that some people are giving more than one regular gift. So it allows you to look at your data quality just to double check that things are as they should be. Now let's move on to the next one, which is the Hall of Fame, which has become very popular with the users so far. The Hall of Fame allows you to look at the top 20 regular giving donors you have on file. It allows you to, by the way, cut and paste out of here. So if you want to take a cut and paste of this and put it into an Excel, you can do that. Donor ID is on the left-hand side, and then you can actually view. So we've clicked view for this particular donor. You've got graphs showing their transactional history, and you can see that in August 2019 or September, they had an upgrade. We don't know the gender of this person. We know their age range. We know when they most recently gave a gift. We know also their average gift size. This person is clearly very generous. Total number of gifts as well. So this is a really useful page because it's a good identifier of the sort of donors you should probably be treating a little bit better than maybe the general kind of group of donors, because these are your most valuable regular giving donors. And in here, you're probably going to find some potential major donors and bequesters for the future. So this is a good page, and it's pretty popular with those who are using it. Now this next page recently has been added, and I'm sure for a lot of you this is going to be a really important page. This is your declines. We all know that declines is one of those bits of regular giving that can be a bit of a head scratcher and one bit of concern, particularly. I mean, I've had organisations I've worked with when I've gone in and found decline rates at 30% a month, which, as you can imagine, is pretty hair-raising. This page allows you to have a really good quick look at what's going on. So if you look at the decline volumes, which is the graph on the left, you can see that in March 2019, 7,500 successful debits and 767 declined debits. If you go to decline percentage, then you can actually see how that works as a percentage. So in March 2019, your face-to-face donors declined at 10.5%, telemarketing at 7.4%. So this is giving you really insightful information about what's going on in declines. And then the next graph is giving you the lost revenue information. In other words, what we're looking at here is how much have you lost every month through your declines program. And obviously, over time, you can see the value of that. And it's a good indicator of how much time or investment perhaps to spend on trying to make repairs to that. And the next one is transaction by day of the week. So what this is telling you is what's the best day to go in and transact in your program. Now, most organizations are doing a date range for their donors. So they might be debiting on the 15th of the month. Well, what you might find is actually the Wednesday is the best day. So you might be then offering to debit on the second Wednesday of every month rather than a specific date. So these are little things to think about. When you looked at your own data, you'd be very easily see which is the best day for you to be debiting. Then just nipping down to the bottom of the page on the left-hand side, we can see the top reasons for decline payments. And these are giving you the numbers of declines and what they're for. So, you know, these are the ones you would expect to see. If your database has very specific ones which are in your system and not here, then you would see the ones that you use. I think that's most important. Whatever's in this dashboard is coming from your CRM and will be according to what you have. And then on donor rankings, this is another useful one too, because it's actually showing you the donors who have the most declined transactions. And it might well be that this donor who's 7217706 is somebody who you keep putting into declines calling program, but they keep declining. And every time you put them in a decline calling program, you're spending money on them and perhaps not getting very much back. So this is a good indicator to have a look at these donors and really look at their history, first of all, of transactional decline, but in reality, how many gifts are they making once you've been calling them? And then the next one below that is actually donors with 3 or more successive decline transactions. And again, that's probably quite useful for you to make some decisions around should people be getting called, or should they be getting cancelled, or however you want to deal with them. So that's another really useful piece of information for you. So that's a declines page. I think that's perhaps one of the most useful ones we've added recently. And then the final one I just want to mention is what we call best donor segment. And this is looking at all your data and telling you who your best groups are. So you can again,
it's
filter
obviously
it up.
it's obviously dependent on the quality of your data in terms of your best age range, but yeah.
And you can filter this as well. And so if you look at, what we've got here is a best age group of 70 plus and best gift range of $31 to $35. Again, you'll see probably some different stories depending on your own data. And down in the graph, we can look at average gift per donor by month and lifetime value per donor by month as well. So allows you to do a quick snapshot of that information. And so that's, and then down here at the bottom of the page, we've got another graph that shows you the average upgrade downgrade by month. And what we mean by that is so if you look at, for example, August, you'll see that face-to-face overall value is 29 cents per gift, down on the previous month. Now that might indicate that you had more declines that month or more cancellations that month, but again, it allowed you to recognize that there's perhaps an issue somewhere, and you could go and look in a bit more detail about where that might be. So that's the page we have on best donor segment. And the next thing I just want to talk about is the fact that this dashboard also has a forecasting tool which allows you to look at use it for budgeting and long-term forecasting. If you're doing a fundraising strategy, for example, you might want to do a multi-year forecast, or you might want to do your fundraising, so your regular giving budget for the next year. And you can do that in the forecasting tool. So to run a new forecast, relatively easy. You can choose it by channel. You can choose your suppliers. You can put in an expected average gift. Your pre-debit fail rate can go in, your cost per acquisition, and just as you can see, if you hover over each of the boxes, it tells you what the definition of those are. You can also, if you wish, but you don't have to, put in donor care cost. So you can put that in as a dollar value for every donor active per month. And you can also put in your transactional costs, so your credit card fees and so on can go in there as well. Those are optional because not everybody does it, so we've left that as purely optional. Then you can put in your decline rates if you wish to do that. You can put your starting forecast month, and you give it a version name. And then down at the bottom, you've got your donors per month, and you can put that in. And then you'll see down below there's a table for attrition. So that's up to you what you might want to put in there. These values are purely examples, and you can put in your attrition rates by month in there. So what happens next? Well, you would submit that in, and you would end up with an answer that looks like this. So you've got your forecast name, when it was created, the channel, the supplier, and now you can see that how much money you've raised in that period of time, how much expense you had, and when you're going to break even. So when you're forecasting or budgeting, you can actually see when your investment's going to make good. And you've got a graph there too that looks at both month on month and accumulated profit for the program. And right at the bottom, you can look at remaining donors by cohort and period. And the other great thing about this is you can then export this straight out into a CSV file. So if you want to put this straight into your budget, you can pull this information out into an Excel or CSV file, and you can then from there extract it very easily and put it into your budget, organizational budget tool. So this forecasting tool is actually going to be, I think, really useful for you from the perspective of relatively quickly being able to put together a budget and a forecast, and you can do lots of variations of it too. So it's going to be a really helpful tool. So that's the forecast.
Fantastic.
And Yeah, and I think that probably covers the key things that we wanted to show you today. So we're very happy to take some questions if anybody would like to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. So the aim today was to give a sort of brief overview, so you got an idea of what the product's all about, and we're very happy to take questions now, and I understand we've only got a couple of minutes left, or we can follow up with you afterwards, and we'll be sending out this recording and we can capture questions from you that way as well. So I will give it a minute to see if there are any questions. If not,
Sure.
we will wrap it up and make sure we get in touch with you guys with our details to follow up.
You might want to do some unmuting there, I think, just so people can
Yes,
ask.
I will do some unmuting. Yeah, okay.
Fantastic, appreciate it. Just give us an idea of price and for having them delivered down there to Griffith, and we will.
I'll basically go via the chat to see if anyone wants to make questions. Otherwise, yeah, we'll wrap up. I think we might call it, David, and follow up with people in terms of individual questions, given our time as well. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we will be in touch. And I've unmuted David. David, sorry, you can say something now. I've unmuted you.
I was going to say, thanks everybody, and I hope that was useful to you all. And as Mythili said, look, if you've got any questions or anything else, please let us know. Very happy to answer anything you have.
Excellent. Take care. Bye all.